with coverage you can count on. This is Channel 3 Eyewitness News, live at 5 in HD.
Good evening, I'm Greg Glover, and for David Carroll.
He's on assignment. I'm Cindy Sexton. We begin with breaking news.
And we are bracing for what could be some tragic news.
A mother ran past the crime tape looking for her child.
And many parents are nervously, anxiously awaiting news about their children.
8-year-old Darian Griffith walked away with one shoe.
The other two was hurt. One of them was bleeding bad and one of them had passed out.
A bus crash involving school children is every public safety professional's worst nightmare.
And that there's been a serious bus crash, and of course people have been very upset.
2 of his friends are still on the bus, and he didn't know when they were going to be taken off of the bus, and it's just heartbreaking to hear that from a little 8-year-old boy.
One mother, a grandmother, who say that they had 2 kids on board that bus. They were on their way to the hospital, not sure of their conditions.
Right now, Erlanger is in a code triage, which means that prepare for multiple injuries.
We know many of you are just getting home, turning on the television, wondering what all the fuss is about. And certainly from the looks of traffic on Brainerd Road, we can tell you that folks have just been stunned by the number of emergency vehicles, the sounds and sights that accompany them. And folks have wondered if there was a bad, a wreck, a crash, a robbery, whatever that may be. What has happened here, for those of you just tuning in, at about 2 hours ago, a bus with 35 students, school bus from Woodmore Elementary, heading home to deliver these children to their homes, apparently ran into some sort of structure, a house near here on Talley Road, and there's the crossing we're at here is Talley and Howard. There's also a street, Midwood Drive, that is apparently closer to the exact location of that crash. 35 school children were on board. It was a serious crash, serious enough to bring out this incredible response of emergency workers. 23 students, this is the disaster response team you're seeing behind me here. 23 students were transported to the hospital, as Kate told you a few moments ago. And we may be getting a little more information here in just a moment. We don't know the conditions from the reactions we've seen where it's apparent that there is some very serious injuries. We don't know if there are any fatalities. If so, they have not announced that. Chief Fletcher said a little while ago that there are situations where they're making sure they get involved with next of kin and relatives. So we are bracing for the worst. And this is not based on any fact that we know. It's just, you might say, the responses that we've seen from some of the officials, body language, and just the general mood. It's a very serious situation involving this bus, and rescue efforts are still underway. We're thinking with perhaps 2 or 3 children and we have seen parents who say they haven't found any information on their babies. They don't know where their babies are. And these are children probably from ages 5 to 11, K through 5.
Like I said, they are under a code triage, prepare for multiple injuries. The saddest thing that I've seen here is a paramedic crying after he dropped somebody off, and just it looks what appears to be family members just frantically trying to see where their child is, if their child is okay. They are hugging the cops and crying and just running up to the entrance of the ER. It's just a really heartbreaking scene here.
We are getting word, though, from the THP that perhaps we are talking about fatalities on the bus.
So we do know now that all children are off the bus. We do not know how serious some of those injuries might be. We do know that 23 have already been taken to the hospital, and that is not including the ones now that were just removed from the bus since that last press conference. But we are being told more updates will be following shortly from Woodmore Elementary. Now, I know that David Carroll just spoke quickly with Dr. Kirk Kelly before he left.
And again, not a lot of concrete information, but certainly we're preparing for some very tragic news. He says that we're facing a great tragedy. He says that extra counselors will be on hand at Woodmore and its related schools. It feeds into Dalewood and Brainerd, so you have a lot of siblings, a lot of families there interconnected. And School Board Chairman Steve Highlander asked for me to say to you to pray for these kids and families. He says it's very bad, very tragic. He compared it to some recent disasters and tragedies that we have had in our area.
How old are you, buddy?
8.
What's your name?
Darian.
Darian. What's your last name?
Griffith.
Griffith.
Good. Problem happened.
How are you handling this?
I'm okay.
Are you guys going to take him to get checked out now? All right. Thank you guys so much. Glad you're safe, buddy.
If you are just now tuning in, we know that you are wondering what's going on. This is not a traditional newscast. We are staying live with a situation that we have been told is tragic. It is near Woodmore Elementary. A school bus has wrecked, a single vehicle accident, 35 children on board, 23 transported to area hospitals.
Happened around 20 minutes after 3 this afternoon. We have crews on the scene to bring you team coverage.
A colonel with the Tennessee Highway Patrol has sent out on social media that some children were killed and injured. That is something that no one has come forward and said here at the scene. That is something, sadly, that we have anticipated, but there's been no official announcement here, and it could be that the Highway Patrol colonel may be releasing some information perhaps earlier than some would like, but that is on social media, and that has been the fear as we have seen so many emergency units and medical workers out here today. And frankly, when the superintendent says it's a tragic situation, that's pretty much the conclusion one would draw. There's here at this scene right now, most of the families we'd seen earlier have moved along. They are heading over to Woodmore Elementary, and that's where most of the officials, both police and school officials, have been hurriedly going away to. I think they want to clear this scene of any onlookers and move on the situation where they can comfort the parents and provide some counselors. As we were seeing Dr. Kirk Kelly and School Board Chairman Steve Highlander leave a little while ago, they were putting in a request for every available counselor from the police department or other agencies to head over to Woodmore. That's how serious this is. A lot of folks are needing consoling and reassuring and comforting. And we're very fortunate, as Chief Fletcher said, that we have folks who are qualified and capable of doing that. We have also heard from School Board Chairman Highlander that despite earlier reports, the bus did not hit a house, it hit a tree. And in fact, I have tweeted a picture just a little while ago that comes from the scene that would indicate that to be the case.
This bus 366, there was a male driver. He's cooperating with the investigators to try to figure out what happened there. But this was a one-vehicle accident. I believe this is the picture that actually came from the Chattanooga Fire Department.
Perhaps the key word here is prayer. Everyone we've talked to who has been able to talk coming back from the scene of the accident has been shaken up. They've been torn up, and they have basically had one message for us to convey to you, and that's to pray for the kids and families of Woodmore Elementary. They are saying this is something our area has not seen, witnessed, or experienced in a long, long time. And it may turn out to be, one of the worst school bus accidents in our region in a long, long time.
The only additional update that we can give at this time is there were multiple fatalities.
We did hear there that some fatalities have been confirmed. They don't have a definite number. All we could do here is just kind of pause and, what can you say? This has been a very tragic day for Hamilton County Schools, for our city, for our region. This is one of those times when we ask everybody to come together. We remember our friends who are emergency workers. We remember our friends who are in the hospital trying to save some lives right now. And we're also remembering blood assurance and the constant need for blood donations. Let's not forget about that as we remember these young people and pray for the recovery of those who have survived.
We heard the update from Chattanooga Police about multiple fatalities in this bus crash. We don't know the ages of the children who died, but we do know that they range anywhere from kindergarten to 5th grade.
That there's not much information, just scant few details, even now, nearly 3 hours after the accident.
I mentioned earlier that there are some news outlets who are speculating and repeating rumors. We're not going to do that. I have been told by school officials, and none of this is good news, don't get me wrong, but there are some reports circulating that as many as 12 children have died, and according to the Hamilton County Schools, they've just informed me that is not correct. And again, any number is too many. But we're told that if you're hearing any rumors and stories about 12 fatalities, Hamilton County Schools says that is false information. And we hope the number, sad as it may be, is as low as possible. One is too many.
Police officials, the chief of police, first responders for a number of years now, I do know that they wait until everything is confirmed. They would much rather wait a little longer than tell us inaccurate information. And as we've been reporting, this is a very hectic scene. Parents have been running in and out of the crime tape area, just screaming, "Where is my child? Where is my baby?" That's their priority, is to make sure that the families know what's going on and that all of the kids have been rescued. And it took about 2.5 hours just for the rescue efforts to be completed. So now I can only assume that they're working on consoling family members, making sure everyone is notified, and then we will be given the appropriate updates as they see fit. But it's very important information that David Carroll just shared, that the information that 12 children have died is not true. We do know multiple children have died, though.
Tragic situation. For what we can determine, it involves students from Woodmore. Our hearts go out to them.
I can't help but compare it to the looks on the faces that we saw July of last year, the horrible shootings on Amnicola Highway. This is a totally different incident, I know, but the reactions and responses from our elected and government officials as they prepare to announce a tragic accident, the incident that may involve loss of life, was very similar. It's the first time I've seen anything like that here since then.
What we have been doing here is working with parents and actually if parents coming in for information, giving them information, and also letting them know that there's a possibility that they would need to go to the hospital. But in terms of being able to confirm with more details as to what has happened to people, we'll have more information once we get down with a joint group at the EOC at Amnicola Highway. So for this site, we still have it here for any parents who may be coming in who's looking for their child. We're trying to steer them in the right direction, but I don't have particulars to give to you right now. But I'm going to go to the EOC and get additional information, and then we'll be sharing that as soon as we can get more information to share with you.
Woodmore Elementary is where parents need to go if they need some information about their children. School personnel are guiding them to either hospitals if that's the case for them. Now, they did say that they are going to be open for as long as they need to tonight, and they are also having support counselors here as well.
Woodmore Elementary is just one of Hamilton County's jewels, wonderful school that has been making a great comeback in recent years, and I visited there many times, and it hurts my heart to know that so many of the children that I've met and the teachers that I've met could be, among those involved, whether it be directly or just on a personal basis today. And this is something that all of us in Chattanooga can do to unite and pray for the families at Woodmore, some of whom are grieving tonight, as we know. They have lost a child. We don't know how many as of yet, and we're not going to speculate or guess at anything of that nature.
You have just made a decision to stay on the air, to stay with this story. We will not be showing NBC Nightly News tonight. We want to stay with the story until we have more information that we can share with parents and families and the entire Chattanooga area community.
Ambulances were just coming and going. The life force was flying overhead. Heartbreaking scene here at Erlanger.
We understand that Neil Pinkston, the district attorney, is reporting at least 5 children dead on the school bus. We will try to confirm that number.
This is video that we received just minutes ago. It shows that bus still there, the scene of the crash. In all, 35 students were aboard. Again, 6 of those students died. 5 were killed on the scene. 1 student died at a hospital. 23 students were sent to hospitals with injuries.
Well, Cindy, investigators say it does appear that speed likely played a factor in the crash this afternoon. We're told that the driver is currently being questioned, that he is cooperating with police, and that he has hired an attorney.
It's been about 8 hours since the deadly bus crash, and Tally Road is still blocked off here.
Multiple traumas and all hands on deck.
Community opened their hearts for the students, faculty, and staff here at Woodmore Elementary.
Sports is meant to be a distraction from the everyday grind or struggles of life. But even sports can't distract from the tragedy that took place today in our beautiful city. So tonight isn't about the wins and the losses, it's about those who lost what can't be replaced. And some of the biggest stars from the fields in this state are doing their best to help with love and prayers. Our tweeted, "Our heart goes out to those affected by the bus crash in Chattanooga. Pray for their families." Vols head coach Butch Jones tweeting, "Devastating news coming out of Chattanooga. Thoughts and prayers with students and families of Woodmore Elementary." Former Chattanooga Mock and will-be NFL Hall of Famer Terrell Owens chimed in as well, tweeting, "My heart and condolences goes out to the students and families along with the children that died in Chattanooga bus crash. God bless." And there was former Notre Dame High School standout and current Arizona State football All-American Kareem Orr. He chimed in, tweeting, "Praying for the families in Chattanooga." From Nashville as well, the Nashville Predators of the NHL world tweeted, "Sending our thoughts and prayers out to those involved in the terrible crash in Chattanooga. Smashville is thinking of you." And it wasn't just local either. SportsCenter anchor Linda Cohn, you know her, she also tweeted her prayers from Bristol, Connecticut, saying, my prayers go out to the families and the loved ones of those who died today in the horrific school bus crash in Chattanooga. Now, that's not all we heard from. That's just all the time we have to share right now. You had Vanderbilt's Derek Mason. Some of the Mocs players were tweeting and retweeting the Chattanooga Lookouts. It shows how strong of a community it really is and how far this community really can touch.